What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV, aka Darth Apocalypse. So let's go ahead and get through this one. I want to give a shout out. I'm not going to say your name because I think you told me before you didn't really want me to say your name, but I do want to at least say your first initial. Shout out to the brother Jay for the donation to the channel, and thank you for letting me know about this with this show because this is one of the few shows I'm actually looking forward to watching this upcoming season. Now, according to Variety, Martin's spinoff, The Varnell Hill Show, is set for September release date, and some of the first photos, including this one, has dropped as far as images from the new show. So Paramount Plus has released first look images of The Varnell Hill Show, the Martin spinoff premiering this September on the streaming platform. The 8-episode debut season will premiere with 2 episodes on September 1st, followed by one new episode every Tuesday night until October 13th. Tommy Davidson returns as a titular character nearly 30 years after the mothership show ended. Hill is ready to return to the spotlight, but he won't settle for anything less than star treatment. The Varnell Hill Show is set behind the scenes of Hill's fictional late-night talk show and, per the series logline, follows Varnell as he fights to stay relevant in a rapidly changing entertainment landscape. Between network executives eager to modernize the show, a chaotic writer's room, celebrity guests, family drama, and his own outsized ego, Varnell quickly discovers that keeping a television empire together may be harder than building one in the first place. Kim Whitley, Wendy Raquel Robinson, Nick Cefaro, Emmanuel Hudson, and Chris Williams also star alongside Davidson. Guest stars include Miss Pat, Dion Cole, Damon Wayans, Mike Epps, Omarion, and Martin Lawrence, the show's executive producer. Now, I know what some people are thinking, like, wait a minute, is he going to be playing old Marty Marr? I don't know. It's not stated what character he's going to play. If I had to take a guess, I think he's going to play a different character than Martin Payne. But we'll see. Bentley Cal Evans serves as director, writer, showrunner, and executive producer. In association with BET Studios, also executive producing are Lawrence, Davidson, Jesse Collins, and Dion Harmon for Jesse Collins Entertainment, Stacey Lyles, Ray Proctor, and Robert Lawrence for Run Tell That Entertainment, Mark Greenberg, and Andrew Horn for Harvest Studios. Martin ran from 1992 to 1997 on Fox and starred Martin Lawrence as the titular character Martin Payne. Original cast members Lawrence, Tisha Campbell, Katrina Arnold, and Carl Anthony Payne II reunited in 2022 for a 90-minute BET Plus special, which was filmed on the sitcom's set. Of course, original cast member Thomas Michael Ford, who played Tommy, died back in 2016. He was in October of 2016 at age 52. I believe he had complications from a knee surgery, if I'm not mistaken, blood clot. But anyway, I was always surprised and shocked that Tommy Davidson's career did not materialize into a more sustained stardom after In Living Color, because I mean it was set up like that because In Living Color was such a sensational landmark sketch comedy show, to the point where it's what pretty much helped land, set the pathway, I should say, not land, but it set the pathway for Jim Carrey's ultimate stardom, because Jim Carrey had been around since the 80s. He had done a couple of movies. What was it? Earth Girls Are Easy, First Bite. You know, he had been doing movies since he was in his early 20s. But superstardom or true stardom had eluded him until he had that consistent comedic vehicle, which was in Living Color, where he was able to display his brilliance in those sketches. So once he had some exposure, and that's when he, by 1993, 1994, got those roles, and the rest was history. Damon Wayans also was, before even Jim Carrey, Damon Wayans was the one who, after the Wayans brothers departed Fox and Living Color, would be the first time they had something stolen from them. But after that, it was set up for Damon Wayans to be a star. Remember, he did Last Boy Scout, Mo Money. He was getting all these different movie roles, and it just didn't work out for him to the point where he did not become a huge star. And it wasn't because he didn't have the talent. He did. It's just, maybe it is because they weren't willing to do what some other people were willing to do. And Tommy Davidson, he was kind of put in a position where he was going to be, I'm not going to say a superstar, but at least a star, because it was in 1991 when he had this starring role, secured a starring role in Strictly Business. And that was the first movie that Halle Berry starred in. She had been in some roles before that. That's her first starring role. And when we saw that movie, when I was 11, 12 years old, and I saw that movie, I knew Halle Berry was going to be a star because I had never seen anything like that before in my life on screen. You know what I'm saying? But that movie it wasn't, if I remember correctly, it wasn't as successful as it was expected to be. And Tommy Davidson just never really had another role like that afterwards. Afterwards, it was just always supporting actor stuff. But he did have that memorable, brief turn as Varnell Hill on Martin, to the point where that's probably his most signature role. And, it's interesting to see his character being portrayed again by him. One thing I do wonder, and maybe you guys wanted the same thing, has he matured from the Varnell Hill of almost 30 years ago? Or 30 years ago, I guess it's to say now, because Varnell Hill used to be a very, he came across as a phony. He was one way in front of the camera, but in reality, he was, a guy who didn't really. He never really said what he really felt. He was a guy that always put on an act, in front of the cameras or even off the cameras. He portrayed himself as a good person, but he was actually already behind that facade a shady, brutal, moody, potential. He was a jerk. So it'll be interesting to see if they can portray him with any redeemable qualities. And that's the thing about a show. The thing about a show where you're playing the lead is you have to have the audience. You got to make the audience want to root for you. Hell, James Gandolfini made us root for a murdering mobster, right? Can Tommy Davidson make us root for Varnell Hill? Even if he does have some unlikable qualities. And that's something that I think will be a challenge, but I think that they will, that's something that's going to have to challenge them. But anyway, tell what you guys think about this one. You think it's going to be a good show? I think the potential is there. Man, but will the audience be there?